Set in the year Space Date 366, Star Ocean: The Second Story R transports us to an ethereal world where a Federation officer finds himself on a mystical planet, weaving a tapestry of events that are intertwined with ancient prophecies and otherworldly encounters. But there's a unique twist here, and that is that you, as the player, get to decide whose shoes you want to step into. Claude's, the Federation officer, or Rayna's, the young girl whose fate collides with his. And it's this choice that is going to proceed to shape your journey, the alliances you forge, and the story you unravel. The game's heritage here is a rich one. The original Star Ocean: The Second Story was a gem in the PlayStation era. Here in the West, it first graced our screens in 1999, and a decade later it found its way onto the PSP, receiving a kind of enhanced remaster which captured the hearts of old and new fans alike. But the Second Story R is not in any way a port of the remastered PSP version. No, this is a complete reimagining, a full remake of the original game that marries together pixel art character models within a 3D universe. And while the core game and gameplay does remain the same, there is also a whole host of quality of life improvements here. So if you are familiar with the original or with the PSP remaster, then you are in for a treat here. And at the time of recording, Star Ocean: The Second Story R is releasing on PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and on PC. I played on the PS5, and as expected, there were no issues at all. The game ran flawlessly. For my adventure, I did select Claude as the main protagonist, although if you want to see absolutely everything that Star Ocean 2 has to offer, then you will need multiple playthroughs. Now, overall, I have found this game to be absolutely fantastic. I have loved my time with it. There is a narrative charm here, even though sometimes the story does tiptoe into cliche territories, which I was kind of expecting. It still had me engaged throughout, and I just wanted to keep playing to see where things were going to go. But the 2.5D art here is just a visual treat. I've personally not played a game that has this same type of art style before. Yes, I've played games like Octopath Traveler, which sort of have a 3D effect to them, but here we do have full 3D backgrounds, which are used by the more traditional pixel-based characters. And when you first hear that, you may think, well, that's not really going to work. But actually, it does. It's pure genius. Not only is it unique, but it provides an interesting harmony of old and new. I think it works really well, but yeah, please do share your thoughts in the description as to the art style that the Second Story R has gone with. In terms of sound, well, first off, most of the cutscenes here are fully voice acted, and I think the performers did a great job, pretty much what I would expect from a game of this sort. The original soundtrack is back here, however there is now the option to have an orchestrated, arranged musical track instead, which I think does breathe a lot of life into the experience. But if you are a purist, then the original soundtrack is still available at the click of a button. And in terms of the gameplay, well, if you are not familiar with the Star Ocean franchise, then be aware it does use a much faster action-based combat system than you may be familiar with from other Japanese old-style RPGs. But the battle system here is absolutely exhilarating. I would even go as far as to say as addictive. The narrative is certainly enthralling, as I mentioned, but boy, with the combat here, it just constantly makes me yearn for more. One thing, however, to be aware is that I would say difficulty does start to spike up quite quickly. That's not really a problem for me because I always enjoy sitting back, spending a little bit of time farming in the various areas for experience and levels. But if you are somebody who does not really relish in that sort of gameplay, then you may struggle at times because as you move into different dungeons, as I say, that difficulty does spike quite rapidly. I should say as well, my entire playthrough was on Galaxy difficulty, which is the second of the 3 difficulties, the easiest being Earth mode, and the hardest being Universe. However, there is one huge feature that you can use to help you in your battles, and that is the item creation system, which unlocks about 2 to 3 hours into the main adventure, so you do get it really early on. And the item creation system, let me tell you now, it gives you so much choice at your fingertips. Sometimes perhaps a little bit too much choice. You can really overpower your party if you wish to. You can even get them to end game levels of power, even early on during your adventure. Of course, how you use the system is entirely up to you, but it does have a lot to offer. And the system's quite deep as well, so there are different levels of techniques, such as customization, for example, and how you unlock these are based on other skills that you have to learn. So by learning various amounts of the other skills, you will then automatically unlock these deeper systems. And although it does seem a little bit confusing at first, the game does give you all the information you need to show, you know, what system unlocks from which skills. And after you've played about with it for a while, it will all become second nature. But in conclusion, as you can probably guess, I am a big fan and have really enjoyed Star Ocean: The Second Story. In fact, I'm already looking forward to my next playthrough. So I would definitely recommend this, not only to Star Ocean fans and those of you that played the original version or the PSP version of this game, but to pretty much anybody that enjoys a good old traditional RPG adventure. So definitely be prepared if you are not ready for a game to take over your life for a little bit, because that's exactly what could happen here. Perhaps some of the item creation systems are a little bit deep at times, which may put some people off from really delving into them, but I'd encourage you to do so because you will be truly rewarded and the whole experience is just so much fun. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.